Hi, good morning, students. This is your science master. In this video class lecture, you are going to familiar with the certain chemical reactions and equations. The chapter number 1 and part 2. Hi, hello, good morning. This is your science master. In this video class lecture, you are going to familiar with the chemical reaction and equations from. Hi, good morning, students. This is your science master. In this video class lecture, you are going to familiar the first chapter in chemistry, that is chemical reaction and equations. Let's start the session with the definition of chemical reaction. A chemical reaction is a process in which two or more substances, that is the reactants, to form one or more new substances. How you can come to know that whether there is a chemical reaction took place? To understand this, we have to check the change in color, change in temperature, change in state, liberation of gas. Whether the color is changed, then one can say there will be a chemical reaction. If the temperature changes, I mean if it is reduced or increased, that should be noticed during the chemical reaction. And change in state, whether the solid is changed into liquid or gas is converted into solid or liquid, so that gives the evidence of the chemical reaction. Similarly, there will be a evolution of gas, means the gas gets liberated during the chemical reactions. Out of these evidences, one can say about the chemical reaction. And we come across many examples in day-to-day life, so which are chemical reactions. For example, rusting of iron, milk turns into curd, burning of wood, burning of petroleum, burning of LPG, and etc. Let us know about the types of chemical reactions. Chemical reactions mainly studied into five major types: chemical combination, chemical decomposition, chemical displacement, chemical double displacement, and redox reaction. Let us know in detail. Chemical combination, it is a type of chemical reaction in which two or more reactants combine to form only one product. Only single product is formed due to the reaction between two or more reactants. For example, carbon and oxygen are the reactants. When they undergo chemical reaction, these two reactants produce a single product, that is carbon dioxide. Similarly, hydrogen combines with oxygen as a reactants to produce a single compound, that is water. Generally, these combination reactions are exothermic reactions. That means they liberate heat into the surrounding during chemical reaction. To understand the combination reaction, you have to perform an activity, very simple activity, which is given in your textbook. It is as follows: take a piece of magnesium ribbon and hold it in a pair of tongs. Introduce the magnesium ribbon in the flame of Bunsen burner. The magnesium ribbon starts with a dazzling flame. You will observe that the magnesium ribbon soon changes into white powder. The white powder so formed is called as magnesium oxide. if you put it in terms of equation, so it will be like this: 2 mg plus O2 gives rise to 2 MgO. This MgO is magnesium oxide formed by the reactants like magnesium and oxygen. And next type of chemical reaction is a decomposition reaction. It is a type of chemical reaction in which a single reactant split up into two or more products. This is opposite to the combination reaction. And this decomposition reaction is an endothermic reaction. Why? Because the heat is taken inside the reaction. Therefore, the surrounding temperature becomes reduced. So that is why such chemical reactions are termed as endothermic reaction. That means what? The heat is evolved during the chemical reaction. So hence, these reactions are endothermic reactions. And decomposition reactions can be observed in three kinds, namely thermal decombination, electrolysis, and photo decombination. Let us learn in detail about these kinds with examples. This type of chemical reaction carried out by heating. That is why the decomposition reaction is termed as thermal decomposition. Only it is decomposed in the presence of heat. For example, ferrous sulfate is a solid substance. When it is heated, it produces ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide. Similarly, calcium carbonate on heating produces a quicklime and carbon dioxide. One more example is there regarding thermal decombination. That is lead nitrate on heating produces lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and oxygen. So this can be performed using test tube holder, burner, and lead nitrate. One can easily understand the decombination reaction by heating. Next one, that is the decombination by electric current. This is called as electrolysis process. Why? Because the decombination of a substance is carried out by passing electric current through it, is known as electrolysis. Here, electric current is passed through a water. It gets decomposed into hydrogen and oxygen. This can be understood using the above activity. That is very simple diagram that has made up of a plastic mug, and two electrodes are introduced in the plastic mug from the bottom, and each electrode are made up of a graphite rod connected to the battery terminals. One electrode is connected to the positive terminal, which is called as anode, and another one is connected to the negative, which is called as a cathode. And it contains water, and two test tubes are invertedly placed above each graphite rod. On supplying the DC current, the water gets split up into oxygen and hydrogen. So here oxygen gets collected over the anode, and the hydrogen gets collected over the cathode in the ratio of 2:1. Next kind, that is photo decomposition. This photo decomposition occurs only in the presence of sunlight. For example, silver chloride, when it is exposed to the light, it undergoes decomposition. And silver bromide, when exposed to the sunlight, it undergoes decombination reaction. If you put in the form of equation, so it will be like this: 2 AgCl exposed to the sunlight gives rise to 2Ag plus Cl2. Similarly, 2AgBr on exposing to the sunlight produces 2Ag plus Br2. Next chemical reaction is a displacement reaction. The chemical reaction in which one element displaces another element from a compound. Such type of chemical reaction is called displacement reaction. For example, zinc reacts with a sulfuric acid, produces zinc sulfate with the liberation of hydrogen gas. Similarly, when iron reacts with a sulfuric acid, produces iron sulfate plus hydrogen gas. Here the zinc and the iron displaces hydrogen from sulfuric acid. Zn is an element that is going to displace hydrogen. So such type of chemical reactions usually called as displacement reaction. This can be understood by performing an activity. So in this activity, uh, a fresh nail is tied to the thread and dipped in the copper sulfate solution containing test tube. The test tube is fixed to the stand. If you perform this particular activity for some times, the bluish color of copper sulfate turns into colorless. That is why, because the iron replaces the copper. And after the performing the activity, what do you observe? You can see that iron, when reacting with the copper sulfate solution, becomes ferrous sulfate with the liberation of copper. So iron replacing the copper here. Similarly, you can perform with a Zn. Zn also replaces the copper. Why this copper is being replaced? That is mainly because the copper in both the cases having less reactivity. So therefore, the iron as well as the zinc replaces the copper. Next reaction is a double displacement reaction. It is also type of chemical reaction in which two compounds react to form two compounds react to form two different compounds by mutual exchange of ions or radicals. Such reactions are called double displacement reactions. This can be studied in two ways, that is, precipitation reactions and neutralization reactions. So, first, we will understand the precipitation reaction with an example. When silver nitrate reacts with the sodium chloride, there will be a mutual exchange of ions takes place. Ag comes contact with the Cl and Na comes contact with the NO3, and thus there is a formation of white PPT of AgCl. Similarly, when barium chloride reacts with the sodium sulfate, produces white PPT of barium sulfate with the liberation of salt. So here the precipitation is takes prime importance in case of a double displacement reaction. In other type of double displacement reaction, that is neutralization reaction, so which you study in detail in the next chapter, that is acid base and salt chapter. Okay, anyhow, I'll give you one example, that is sodium hydroxide is a base. When it reacts with the HCl, hydrochloric acid, it produces salt and water. If due to the acid base reaction there will be a formation of salt and water, such type of reactions are called as neutralization reaction. Basically neutralization reactions are double displacement reactions here, because there will be a mutual exchange of ions has been taken place. And next type of reaction is a redox reaction. It is a shortened form of oxidation and reduction. What is that oxidation is? It is a process of addition of oxygen. There will be addition of oxygen, then it is said to be oxidation. Or else removal of hydrogen, then also it is called as oxidation. And reduction, it is a process of removal of oxygen but addition of hydrogen. If hydrogen gets added or the oxygen is removed, then it is said to be reduction. So these two reactions usually occur together, hence it is shortly called as redox reaction. Let us know with the help of examples. Here zinc oxide reacting with the carbon. Zinc losing oxygen, therefore it gets reduced, means the reduction occur in the case of ZnO, zinc oxide, whereas the carbon getting means adding with the oxygen, it is going to become oxidation. In the other case, chlorine and hydrogen sulfide are reacting, no role of oxygen here, but hydrogen is going to happen something in the following reaction. Something happens with the hydrogen. We come across the definition of the oxidation and reduction by taking the help of hydrogen. Here the chlorine is getting hydrogen, means it is reducing. There will be addition of hydrogen taking place to the chlorine, therefore it is undergo reduction process. But in hydrogen sulfide, it is losing hydrogen, then it is undergoing oxidation process. Similar example also given in your textbook, that is manganese dioxide combining with the sulfuric acid undergo redox reaction. So MnO2, manganese dioxide, gets reduced, whereas HCl gets oxidized. Thank you for watching this video class, and it will continue with the balancing the chemical equations. Thank you one and all.